Hello everyone, Heidi Blankenship here with you for today's tutorial Tuesday for Just Right Papercraft. And today I'm going to be sharing some watercolor techniques with you. And this video here is going to be the first in a series of videos showing you different techniques and tips and tricks and stuff for watercolors. So over the next few weeks I will be sharing a lot of different things for watercolor with you. Okay, and I just wanted to show you kind of a sneak peek of some of the things that we'll be doing. I'm not going to go over in a whole lot of detail about the watercolor pieces that you'll be seeing here because we aren't going to be doing all of these in this video. Like I said, this is just kind of a sneak peek of what's to come. But this first one here we will actually be doing today in the tutorial and stuff. So I just wanted to show you some of the different effects that you can get with watercolor. So this is another one. And then this one here. Okay. And this one here, I did the same exact technique on the whole entire piece of paper. And then once everything had set for a little bit, on this half of the watercolor paper, I took a baby wipe and just went over it a little bit to remove some of the white. So it's just a little bit more muted. But it's the same technique. So we'll be doing that one too. And there is some like texture glaze on this one. And then here's another one. So those are just a few of the things that I will be sharing with you, like I said, over the next few weeks in the tutorials. But this one here is one that we're going to do today, and then we're going to do a couple of other quick, simple little ones. So, okay, let's get started. Okay, before we get started, I want to show you some of the supplies that I will be using for the tutorials today and just talk to you a little bit about them, okay? So for watercoloring, the first thing obviously that you're going to need is some watercolor paper. I know a lot of people ask if they can just use regular plain white cardstock. If you're going to be doing anything with any amount of water, you are going to want to purchase some watercolor paper. Just a regular cardstock will tend to pill, and the paper will get will be real rough texture to it. So, but you can purchase a variety of different sizes of watercolor. There's watercolor paper. There's a lot of different brands and stuff. This one here is for like your larger, your larger sheets and stuff. But you could cut this down to size if you want to, or this one here is by Strathmore watercolor paper, and this one is really nice. It's a 5.5 by 8.5 size, so if you like to make the larger like 5 by 7 cards, this is great paper to use. And I really do like this brand of paper here. This one here is another one. It's called Master's Touch Fine Art Studio watercolor paper. And this one is a 6 by 6 size, so this would be great for your 6 by 6 cards, or 5.5 by 5.5, 4 by 4, any of your square type cards. You wouldn't really have to turn off a whole lot and stuff. So, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is that you want to look on the packaging here. Let me bring this up. Okay, you want to look for where it says cold press surface. And then the other thing that you want to look for too is 140 weight. Okay, and the other thing that a lot of people always wonder about too are the brushes. I'll move this here out of the way. Okay, and I have a variety of brushes here. You do not need all these brushes to do these techniques. I just wanted to show you a few different varieties. I have actually taken several watercolor painting classes, and I've done acrylic painting and toll folk art painting for years, so I happen to have a lot of brushes on hand. But something that you're going to want to have is a flat brush. These are different varieties of flat brushes, and you're going to want to have probably like a large to medium-sized flat brush. Okay, and then you're going to want to have a nice round brush here. Okay, and that's probably like a medium size. Let's see if it says on here. This is a number 5 round brush. Okay, and then I also have, for when I do more detailed work, I have one of these water brushes, and this has a finer point on it, and you can just squeeze it. It holds the water in there, then the water will come out as you need it. Okay. So there's that. And if you don't happen to have brushes like this, and you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on the brushes either. You can even use just one of like a cheap little plastic brush, something that's has soft bristles on it, kind of round, like a medium to large size, so it'll hold some water. So if you get into doing a lot of watercolor though, you probably will want to invest a little bit into some type of water brushes, just because these less expensive ones, the bristles can tend to fall out and stuff when you're doing different techniques. So there's a few different brushes to give you some ideas of those. Another thing that you're going to want to have on hand is a spray bottle with water, whether it's a large one or the little tiny mini misters. You're going to want to have some water on hand. Another container to put some water in. You want to have some paper towels. Baby wipes are always great to have on hand. Painter's tape or a washi tape. Either one of them will work great. And then for the technique today, I'm going to be using a variety, I have several ink pads here, but a variety of different distress inks, and also the distress markers. So if you have, if you don't happen to have the distressed inks, you can use different dye, the different dye-based inks will work still too and stuff. Or if you have any dye-based markers, those will still work great too. And then one other thing that we'll be using today for the technique is a couple of acrylic blocks. So, okay, let's get started. Oh, one other thing I just realized I forgot to mention here. You can see this it's like a large clipboard that's laying here. And I like to use this for doing my watercolor techniques, just because I can take a marker and I can scribble on it, and I can add some water to that real quick to turn that into watercolor. I can also take my ink pad, okay, and do the same type of thing where I can add some water to that, and then you have like your instant watercolor there, and everything can just be wiped off with either a baby wipe or a paper towel. And you can also use and this will come off too all the way if I use a baby wipe on it, but you can use the painter's tape on it. I've used a heat tool. I can heat set with it and everything, and it's a really nice surface. It's hard and stuff. Like I said, it'll handle a lot of water. It'll handle the heat. And I picked this up at Hobby Lobby back in the art department, like by the watercolor and acrylic paints and stuff. I know a lot of people also use cutting boards. They work really nice for this, like a thinner type wood cutting board that can absorb the water. So, and then I can't remember now if I mentioned this or not, but for the technique today, we will also be using a background stamp. So if you can find something that's not super detailed but has, maybe like a really neat pattern to it, or a bolder type of background, that would be great for the techniques. So, okay, all right, now we can get started. Okay, let's take a look at the cards that I designed after showing you the different watercolor techniques. Okay, this one here was the first technique that I showed you, and that was with the square acrylic block and the 4 different colors of ink, and you just do a little bit of ink in each corner and then mist it to get it wet and then stamp on there. So I just stamped a sentiment, and this here is from the Extra Grand Sentiments, and this is actually a sneak peek for you. This is going to be in the September release from Just Right Paper Craft. So just real simple black ink, and then I layered with pink and a little bit of orange and a white base, and then just added a few little sequins on there for sparkle. So very quick and easy card. Okay, alright, and then this one here is the second technique that I showed you, and this was using a rectangle acrylic block, and this was done with the distress markers. Okay, and for this one I did a Halloween stamp and just matted it with some black and green and then a black card base, and then just put a few little enamel dots, and these are some handmade enamel dots from melted seed beads. So that's another very quick and easy card. Okay, and then this one here, this technique was doing the different colors. I believe there's 4 different colors of distress ink, and then misting them and putting the paper down in there, and then doing just water drops and letting them sit for a few seconds and blotting off the water drops. And it's several layers of blotted off water drops and then lightly misting on there a few times too. So this here is another sentiment that is from the Extra Grand Sentiments, which is part of the September release. And then on this one here I just added some iridescent sequins, and then this really pretty kind of plum color silk ribbon from May Arts. Okay, and then this is the last card, and this is the one that I showed you how to use the rubber stamp that you mist with water, and then press that down and on the watercolor paper. After you've added all the color, let it sit for a little bit, and then you blot that off, and that's going to pull away some of the ink too, so you're going to have the pattern in the background. And this is another sentiment from the Extra Grand Sentiments too. So I hope that you enjoyed the different techniques. This is the first video in a series that I'm going to be doing of watercolor techniques, and I hope you also enjoyed the sneak peek of the Extra Grand Sentiments. It's a really fun stamp set, and please be sure to visit the Just Right Paper Craft blog and the website, so you can see all of the new releases and lots of projects and designs and inspiration from the design team. So thanks so much for joining me today, and be sure to leave a comment down below in the comment section. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video and the tutorial. I really appreciate it. And as always, Kelly always usually asks a question on the blog too, so be sure to check out the blog and answer the question. A lot of times there's a giveaway involved. So thanks so much for joining me today. Bye-bye.